That was a dogfight. You had to dig deep. Give us your thoughts.
Surprise, surprise, motherfucker! The king is back!
Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the prediction show for UFC 246, Conor McGregor versus Donald Cerrone. We're going to talk about 3 free plays that we have on this card. Very excited to talk about this card. It's been some time. A lot of you that I talked to you on Twitter, you can follow me at Kyle Anthony UFC. Talk to a bunch of you. I know everybody's excited about this card. Not only the fact it's the return of Conor McGregor, but as well as a lot of great betting opportunities here. Overall, I'm going to have 4 plays. Or actually 5 plays. 3 I'm going to talk about here, and then 2 other ones I will have on Wagertalk. If you'd like that, you can always take a look. Link down in the description. But it's 2020. We had a profitable 2019. Really ended the year off strong. And again, this community and everybody is growing. I appreciate everybody who's been a part of this. The conversations down below in the comment section, I always appreciate that. I always like to continue the conversation down there. And if this is your first time watching this channel, definitely subscribe. You're into UFC content as a whole, gambling content for UFC as a whole as well. This is the place to be. Give it a thumbs up. Always appreciate the support from everybody. Everybody's been great. So I guess let's keep it going. So what we're going to talk about now is the first free play, and the first free play is on the main event of the evening between Conor McGregor and Donald Cerrone. Now, like what I always like to do, break down roughly, very quickly, 3 fights for each fighter that I always go back, I rewatch, break it down, see if it, what makes sense, see if one fighter can expose the other fighter, and also if the line makes sense to bet. So we're first going to talk about Conor McGregor here. So 3 fights ago, he fought Nate Diaz. Now, this was the second time that he fought Nate Diaz. Prior to that, he fought him, lost. It was big upset, and went back to fight Nate at the same weight, wanted to get that back. And not to dive too much into this fight, but we saw again a big part of both fights with Nate Diaz was the pressure. That was something that was consistent. Everyone knew the cardio's there, but the output from Nate Diaz, very, very tough to overcome when he keeps pushing forward, pushing forward. Conor ended up coming back, dropped him a couple times, really was able to, had to dig deep a couple times. Didn't look like he had much in the gas tank there, but he was able to really push through from most of that. Ended up getting close. I actually had it very close as well. I think most of the decision victory did go to Conor. I think it was, 1 round difference between the two, but very, very close fight there. But you did see that he's very susceptible. This is not any big news that nobody knows. Very susceptible with his cardio, and the pressure could be something that he has been exposed to. So that's something that I'm going to talk a little bit more about later, but that's something to keep in the back of your mind when I was actually breaking down this fight and rewatching it. So Conor McGregor goes out there and gets a decision victory. 2 fights ago, he fought Eddie Alvarez. This was the title fight here. This was a lot of build-up. Obviously, there's always pretty much hype on every fight that Conor McGregor is involved in. But this was a fight here that even going into this, it just felt like Eddie Alvarez was just way overmatched. And stylistically, this was a great matchup for Conor. Now, you've got someone like Eddie Alvarez. He has some power, extremely durable, but he's not a guy that's going to really, move around the cage. He's not going to have a lot of footwork, and you're not really going to see that, you're going to see a lot where Conor has the speed advantage over him, the counter-punching ability over him. So there was a lot of things that he had, and plus the fact that Eddie's willing to stand and trade. He's absolutely willing to stand and trade, throw the big shots, ready to take shots, take one and give one. He's the underground king, the nickname. He loves to go in there and just brawl. But a fight like this, where you're looking to stand toe-to-toe and not over pressure. This isn't the kind of fight you're going to see with Nate Diaz where there is the over pressure. A lot of pressure coming out. This was really, he was standing at a comfortable position, a comfortable distance, and Conor's able to pick him apart. It was a KO victory in the second round. Really, there was not much there. Again, Conor dropped him a couple times. You saw just the reflexes that Conor has. Overall, was able to land big shots. It was an easy decision an easy knockout for him in that second round. And then most recently, he fought Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, this was off of the heels of the money fight with Floyd Mayweather, which a lot of this, and I placed and I've said this a few times, obviously, even when the fight was actually happening, when I did my show, I placed a large bet on Khabib going into this fight against Conor. And a lot of what I didn't like about Conor, things are changing coming into this fight. Now, the things that I hated about Conor there was, the guy just made $100 million. He was really focused on boxing for a very long time. I'm sorry, not even a long time, but enough where you're not practicing mixed martial arts. And, the money was there, the businesses were there, he was starting companies, he had a soup company and his whiskey and all of these things. And not to knock any of that, that's amazing. He's turned himself into an extremely wealthy person. But on the fighting aspect, you could just tell that he was not at all focused. And even you've seen leading up to that fight, there was a lot of partying, videos of him partying. You saw on TMZ and ESPN, and you just saw all over media outlets that he was consistently out there, not really focused and just really enjoying his wealth, which is fine. But when you're going up against a killer like Khabib and you've known to have cardio issues, and his takedown defense is not terrible, but by any means it's not something that's going to stop a guy like Khabib overall. But in this fight here, round one, and going back to that, round one, I thought was very interesting because the first attempt that Khabib did, where he came inside and looked to get the takedown, Conor did well. He scrambled. He actually was able to kind of get his leg out, hooked Khabib's leg, and kind of pushed him off of him. But you've got that smothering, consistent pressure from Khabib, which is unmatched by any fighter, in my opinion. And that's really tough over an extended period of time to consistently push him off. The pressure again, and it's going to be a big part of this, the pressure was there again, the smothering, the wrestling. There was really just overall, Conor went from that first round and he slowly, and then he picked it up, I think it was that third round, where it looked like he started to get a little bit of energy back. And then in that fourth round, really Khabib smothered him again. And it really, Conor had no answer for that. But you saw pieces of, he does have a somewhat decent takedown defense for a guy that people don't think he's got any kind of ground game at all. And I think that's well overstated. I think he actually does. But that's kind of, and I keep saying actually myself, but that's kind of been that baseline where he doesn't have takedown defense, he doesn't have cardio and all these things. It really is a situational. I don't think that he doesn't have cardio at all. I mean, you look at the Mayweather fight, and that's a totally different sport. He still went into the 8th round. Even Diaz, he fought Diaz, into the 5th round to a decision, although he was tired and stuff like that. But it's a different type of pressure, and it depends on the fighter that you're fighting, and that's what's going to change your cardio. It's not just overall, it's going to be the situations that are happening, and that's what's going to be the difference maker. So in a fight against Cowboy, I think that's a little bit different. I think it's a little bit different of a situation when you're talking about pressure and all these other things. But we're going to do that once I kind of go over these fights here. So Khabib goes out there, gets a submission victory in that 4th round. Now going over Donald Cerrone. 3 fights ago, Donald Cerrone fought Ally Quinta. This was just a great showing overall for Donald Cerrone. I mean, he was dropping Ally Quinta. Ally Quinta didn't really have many answers for him, completely outstriking him. Great kicks. I mean, this was one of the better showings that I really can remember from Cowboy. Even prior to that, when he fought Alexander Hernandez, and then Alexander Hernandez, he just smacked him around and was able to really put on a nice showing there. So coming off of 2 really nice fights there, beating Ally Quinta by decision, an easy decision victory. After that, he went and he fought Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson. So he fought Tony Ferguson, and this was a huge fight. This was going to be a barn burner of a fight. And the first round, very competitive, big shots being landed, and I'm not really going to dive into this one because obviously wasn't too much to really go into. But Tony Ferguson hurt him, and Cowboy took some damage. He did take damage, but ended up blowing his nose, puffing his eye out, really screwed his whole situation there, and they had to call it doctor stoppage, eye closed. Was a fight I would love to see again at some point, but there you go. Donald Cerrone loses against Tony Ferguson due to doctor stoppage. And then most recently, which is one that a little bit more we can take away from, and then going into this, is going to be against Justin Gaethje. Now, the fight didn't last very long. This is a fight where Gaethje went out there and ended up knocking out Donald Cerrone in that first round. Now, this is another fight where it's short fight, but early on, Justin was landing. And it really, I really felt like even in that short time period, you know what, Cowboy's hittable. Cowboy is absolutely hittable, and he's another kind of guy that's okay kind of taking one to give one. And that's something that I don't think works very well when you're fighting somebody like Conor McGregor, who has the precision striking and has the power and has the footwork. That kind of situation, I don't really like that going into this fight for Donald Cerrone. Now, with that all being said, obviously you talk about Conor McGregor, you talk about his left hand, his power, and his counter-punching ability. And as well as he's a master at distance management. He is phenomenal at it. He just is able to really work those angles, work the combinations, and really almost get you in such a vulnerable position where he's able to land those big shots. And then you've got somebody like Donald Cerrone on their side, great kickboxing, and good in the clinch. Now, the big thing that everyone's talking about is, will he go for the takedowns? Will Donald Cerrone look to take down McGregor? And here, you know what, and even in my video that I had put out over a month ago on the early betting strategy for this fight, and my whole thing was right there, was saying I don't see it happening. I don't see Donald Cerrone looking for that takedown. I don't think he's going to be looking to go for it aggressively. If it's there and it kind of organically presents itself and he can, able to get him down, I think so, but I don't really see him grinding it out, looking to put the pressure on, looking to take him to the ground, looking to, drag him into deep water. That's not really, I don't really see that happening. And I even said it on the show that, he's going to come out and openly say this. And you know what? He has this week, last week, he has already been saying, I'm going to give the fans what they want. I'm going to brawl. I'm going to be able to go out there and stand toe to toe with them. That's what the fans want to see. But you have that part, and the hittable part from that Conor can land the big shots. But the biggest thing for me here in this fight, and I don't really feel like a lot of people are talking about it as much, the big part is really where Cowboy stands during fights. Now, he is not a big, guy where he's gonna, look for the pressure like you're gonna see a Diaz, or where he's gonna, or Khabib, looking for the pressure, pushing forward, landing the combinations, constantly making Conor work is, I believe, that path to victory for him is pressure, put it on him, get in front of him, keep making him work, keep making him throw punches, keep making him move, and then later on you can look for that finish, or you could look to at least try to really slow him down because he is so explosive. And with this, I think that's going to leave a lot of opportunity for Conor to not have to fully, if the fight does go, into the later rounds, Conor's going to have those times where he's not going to have to, really kind of take that deep breath because he's in there banging. Cowboy kind of leaves at that kickboxing distance, and that distance not only will give Conor the opportunity to land the big strikes and dictate the pace of the fight, but it'll also give him the opportunity to rest when he needs to rest. So I think that's extremely, extremely important within this. And a stat that I thought was really fantastic from Dan Tom on MMA Junkie was that Donald Cerrone is 4-9 against southpaws in the UFC. So right there is telling you a lot of things that you want to know here. Now, we talk about the odds here. We've got Conor McGregor. Now, it opened, at least at my book, it opened at minus 215, and you had Donald Cerrone at plus 174. Placed a bet on Conor McGregor there. I ended up going out and placing a bet and want to see where that line was going to go. And it did move up, and I placed another bet, as right now it's currently at minus 290, and you've got Donald Cerrone at plus 220. But minus 290 for Conor. I like those. I like Conor to win this fight, and that's going to be one of my free plays, is going to be betting Conor McGregor here. I think people are on that, but also I really love by the method of victory here. Now, I love the method of victory here. Conor McGregor right now, it's roughly around the minus 180, minus 190 for a KO, TKO. I think that is great value here. I think it's a great spot. You are paying up a little bit, but I don't see this being a 5-round war or an extremely close fight and going to a decision. If Cowboy wins and you're on Cowboy's side, you've kind of got to think, hey, it goes late. Cowboy can get the stoppage. And you're also thinking, if Conor wins, it could be, he sparks him in that first or second round, the fight's over. For me, I like Conor to win this fight, so I have bet him straight, and I have also bet him method of victory at -180. Those are my 2 free plays on this particular fight. We've got one more fight we're going to go over, but those are my free plays. Let me know what you guys think. Overall, are you on Conor? Do you like that one? I know the other one too is the rounds. There's some really nice pricing on the rounds. I'm not that big. I may sprinkle a little bit in, on maybe the first or second round, because you're talking about, plus 200, plus 300, even plus 400. I think I've seen in that second round, which that second round does seem like a sweet spot. I think kind of feels out in that first round and then ends up looking for the kill in that second round. So I've got Conor McGregor to win, as well as method of victory, KO, TKO. Now, the other fight we're going to be talking about is the co-main event of the evening between Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington. Currently you've got Holm, she is -142, and you've got Pennington, who is +116. Now, quickly going over these, I try to, as much as I say I try to go over these quick, I don't, because I just keep talking, but let me break these down. The first thing we're going to talk about is Holly Holm. Now, Holly Holm is 12-5. 3 fights ago, she fought Cyborg. This was a fight here, highly anticipated fight. People very, very excited to see these two fight. And I thought that one thing about this fight was leading up to it was Holly seemed almost, I wouldn't say scared is the word, but the power seemed to be something that was on her mind, that she was talking about a lot in interviews, where all these things, and I think that she was kind of out of her game in this. Even with that being said, it was a highly competitive fight. I had it very close. Actually, even the judges had it. It was 48-47. Very close. You could almost give, you could even make an argument for Holly winning that fight. But she was an underdog. You even had the line at that time was Cyborg -325, and you had Holm at +265. But that was a very, very close fight for Holly against Cyborg at that time. Again, world beater. This is before she got knocked out against Nunes. So this is a fight here. I thought Holly looked good. She is getting up in age, but I thought she looked good overall against a very tough opponent. Megan Anderson, she fought. This was a unanimous decision victory for Holly. She really put together a landsliding victory outside with the combinations, the takedowns. Overall was just really smothering her, which I really feel like is a great path to victory for her overall in her career, because she's got the strength. You can tell she's got the strength. She's got the muscle. And then she's got the striking. So mixing those up, making it tough for opponents to really pick where she's going to be having her shots being thrown, I think is going to be something that, she should be using a little bit more than staying outside and kickboxing. So she does go out there and get that decision victory. And then she fought Amanda Nunes, and Nunes ends up head kicking her the same way that she knocked out Ronda Rousey. And so be it, not a lot to really break down there. Nunes gets the knockout victory. Then you've got Raquel Pennington on the other side. She had fought 3 fights ago, Amanda Nunes. This was a fight here where a lot of people really give Raquel Pennington a lot of credit going so far, going to that 5th round with Amanda Nunes, where you see what Amanda Nunes has done. My take on that overall is really on the fact that they're friends. It's well documented that the couples are, that Raquel and Tisha and, Nunes and her girlfriend, they're all friends. They're always hanging out. And even after the fight, Nunes has said it was one of the hardest things she ever had to do, because basically she knew she was kicking the crap out of Pennington, and she had to keep fighting because the corner wanted her to fight. So it let her get deep into that fight, where I think if they're not friends and Nunes is looking to lay the smack down, that's a first round knockout. In my opinion, that I just don't think that Nunes and that Pennington can hang anywhere near Nunes in a normal setting, if they're not friends. But 5th round TKO win for Amanda Nunes. Then 2 fights ago, it was Germaine Durandamy, and this was a terrible showing for Rocky. It was just completely outclassed. And this is a fight here where I really feel like you're going to see a lot of what's going to happen in this fight against Holly Holm. Not to tip my hand there, but you're going to see the striking. You're going to see the footwork. You're going to see the mixing it up. And the thing that you saw even in this fight is that Pennington has very slow developing combinations. She doesn't really move very much. She's a strong girl, a tough girl, but you know what? You work those combinations and some footwork, and you're slipping outside and working the angles. That's, Jermaine Durandamy is a killer when it comes to the kickboxing, and that again comes into what Holly Holm can do. So it fits in very well, but this was an easy decision. Yes, an easy decision victory for Jermaine Durandamy. And then last fight, she fought Irene Aldana. And Aldana, I'm high on her actually. I think that she can be, you just saw her, have a win, knockout victory. But, this was it was a very tough fight. I actually had Aldana winning this fight when I rewatched it, but very close. And you know what, Pennington, her guts, she's tough. You know what, she did go out there and she did get the split decision victory over Irene Aldana. So with that all being said here, you know what, Holly Holm, you know about her kickboxing, she does have good cardio, she's got great footwork. The thing that I don't like about her is the age. I mean, she's at 38, 39 years old. We all know what kind of happens with fighters or any athlete. Once they start hitting that 40 range, it obviously, your timing's not there. Everything really starts to kind of decrease. So that's going to be something that I didn't like about her, as well as her limited combinations. You've seen it so much where she does that yell moving forward. She doesn't really throw the big shots. She's kind of sticks to the same kind of combinations, the punch, kick, or, or kick, punch. I mean, she doesn't really mix it up too well, which is what I'm saying prior to this, is that she really needs to mix it up more. Work in some of the grappling, work in some of the takedowns, work in, even if you're just entering in and level changing, back up and throw a combination. She doesn't really mix it up very well. Those are things I did not like about her as much. And then you go on the other side, you've got Pennington. Pennington, like I was saying, she's tough as nails. I mean, she can take a beating, keep moving forward. She is another fan favorite fighter. She's a brawler and she marches forward. That is something for me that I don't think works very well again against Holly Holm, because you've got where she has very slow developing combinations, and again, it's her counter punching ability that Holly has, and if she uses it and keeps that volume up, which I believe she'll do in this fight, because I think, again, Pennington is going to give those opportunities for Holly to throw combinations, land big shots, move around the cage, and I think that Holly is going to completely look to keep circling around the cage, and as long as she, again, has that output, I think that the Jackson Wink gym is going to put together a nice strategy. Pennington, although a big name, and as in a name people know her within the UFC, I mean, she's 10-7. And she fought some tough fighters. She's won some nice fights. But overall, I mean, unless this is really where Pennington is really starting to peak, and this is the downturn of Holm, I like the price on Holly Holm here, -142. Also, even better odds if you're looking for Holly Holm win by decision. I actually like that as well also. But I bet Holly Holm here straight. I think that she goes out there over 3 rounds, circles the cage, works the combinations from the outside, keeps things moving forward, and really does not give an opportunity for Pennington to land any big shots, keep moving around the cage. I think it's going to be somewhat of maybe a boring fight, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of action. I think it's just going to be a good opportunity for Holly Holm, work her angles, work the combinations, and outpoint Pennington for 3 rounds. So those are my 3 free plays for this event. We've got Conor McGregor to win. We got him by straight, -215. We also have him, and actually bet it again at -290. And we also have method of victory, KO, TKO for Conor McGregor, -180. And as well as Holly Holm to defeat Raquel Pennington, -142. If you want my other 2 plays, they're on Wagertalk. Again, link down in the description. And, I really appreciate everybody who, again, has been a part of this community, liking it, subscribing, adding to the conversation. Again, whether you agree with me, you disagree with me, whatever it may be, we are all on the same team here, trying to beat those bookies and cashing those tickets. And I will have the bet review show out Monday, Sunday, or Monday. So definitely take a look at that. Follow me on Twitter at Kyle Anthony UFC. And this is Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show, and I will see you at the bet review.